I'm going to say the S word on YouTube, and it's snow.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go!
Hey everyone, it's George the Antique Nomad, and by the Cook's Beer sign behind me, you may have guessed that I am in snowy Indiana. How did that happen? I was just in this wonderful warm place called Florida, where I will be going back soon to do shows, but I had some dental work to have done up here and needed to check in with things here, so I am here on a snow day looking for bargains in the His and Hers Flea Market in Evansville, Indiana. The Vase's recent issue, but what isn't is this $25 1960s magic oven set. This pair of iron ship bookends has had the copper paint, and then we have copper luster here. This is from the 19th century, and this is only $7. This came from the Chicago World's Fair, so the good thing is that this place definitely has some antique and vintage mixed amongst other things that are used and for resale. So we're going to check this vendor mall out and see what it's like. Here's a pretty old carnival, and it does have the Imperial mark, but I actually think that mark may be newer. Imperial redid a lot of the things that they had sold in the early days in the 1960s to stretch the line a little bit longer. Believe it or not, this is Blanco. It has ruffles that would make you think maybe Fenton, but they're more uneven than Fenton. A lot of people don't recognize that as a Blanco piece, that's why it's only $10. 1924 license plate from New York is $30. I like this one from the Evansville, the Haughty Shrine. 50 years, that's going to be from the 1960s. It is $5, and it's very 1970s. It's probably made in the Philippines, to tell you the truth, and it's supposed to look like it's got little life rings in it. Are we recording? Yes, we are. That is plastic fantastic, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. It looks like 60s, maybe even early 70s, because it's a little flimsy. But it's kind of cute.
Very flimsy.
It's painted on clear glass. This is.
Oh, it's kind of goofusy.
It's kind of goofusy. They were made in the U.S., but they were made to look a lot like the Japanese ceramics that were being done in the 1930s that were like that. And then this is a piece of Bristol glass. So this is 100 and some years old. It says 1893 on the bottom. That's probably right. And, $15. I mean, I still think this stuff is cheap for what it is.
Look at these. You didn't see these. These are different.
Oh, I saw them. They're Japanese, probably late 70s, early 80s with those pedestals. Pedestals were a 70s thing.
Shape.
And a mug shape. Yeah, that was a very 70s thing to do.
Look at this. This is...
Oh, yes. Yep, the BC. We sold these when I worked at Arby's. You could get the pitcher set and the glasses if you went enough times, but it was a little later because ours were painted colors. These were the first ones, and I think these are 70s.
Elma, 1918.
Ooh, Elma. If I was in Washington, I might be tempted because of the town Elma. Here's the Apollo set for $30. That would actually be worth buying to take to Florida if it didn't have this film on it, but I don't think that's coming off. And then we've got a little Abner glass, and that I might just have to get with the Shmoo. Yeah, $3. That's pretty cheap. Ooh, that's very 70s touristy Florida, made in Japan, I'm sure.
It's...
How much?
$15.
$40 for which now?
This thing that glows.
Oh yeah, well, people have caught on.
Is it worth it?
It's worth it, but I don't think there's enough room to buy it. The salt box is probably worth it for $5 for the false graph. And then we have behind all of these Victorian friendship cups, we have the green tray, which is $28, see, made in Italy. People have caught on to a lot of this stuff. It's not as cheap as it used to be. That's what happens when you start a YouTube channel and start telling people what things are worth, but that's okay. I want us all to be into this. Oh, there we go, John Perry, yep. But that's priced pretty close. I mean, I gotta say, not super cheap here yet, but we'll find stuff. Now, maybe because this is out of season in Indiana, since it's snowing outside, I might be able to afford to take it to Florida, but nah, $50.
Oh, hey, cheap finds, gold mines, just found that and got excited. that Pac-Man game.
Oh, the handheld, yeah. $30.
It wasn't in the package either.
I'm imagining that they got it really cheap. Hence the name. Big Crocs here.
Did you see? Ew, look at this. Thank you.
Oh, that's Hall. That's another refrigerator dish from the 40s. And they would sometimes mix the colors.
Is it Hall?
Yeah.
Westinghouse for
By
the,
Hall China for the refrigerator. And that one is $15. There's something to be proud of.
That's the Marie Antoinette of.
What are you doing with the
Cabbage
severed
Patch
head of the
Kids.
Cabbage Patch doll?
Oh, look, there's the
That
body.
is horrible.
Oh, because I see.
Oh, I see. You're supposed to make your own. It's a kit. Okay, well,
Yes.
that's a little more forgivable. Oh,
She's
dear.
lost her head.
Oh, my. That seems like the
Look, see,
basis of a really cheesy
Someone
horror
thought
movie.
that was
Well, the 70s are not always about quality. This is a great example. It's new in the package, so it's probably rare because how many of these actually were used more than once without breaking? I mean, you just look at it and you know the thing
Yeah,
isn't
but
going
the
to work.
tang is probably
Where it would
goes to
snap.
there.
Yes. So that's what makes it sort of delightful is some of it is really bad. Baby version of the 50s step stool. In fact, it's actually by Costco out of Indiana. So there you go. But this is more like a really little kid or doll size.
Look at this. It's like a big.
Oh yeah, that's a big fish fryer. Now, I know that a lot of the women in our audience won't appreciate this, but a good valve seat grinding set like this is something that you'll sometimes see really cheaply at estate sales if they don't know tools. And guys buy these. This is priced at $100. It's worth it. That is something to notice if you happen to be a reseller. Another thing I thought was interesting to notice here. I get a kick out of this cigarette box from the 1960s. Now this aluminum ware is Rodney Kent, and look how this butter dish is new with the original box. That's actually pretty cool, and it's $25. That's not a bad price considering that it's got all of that. Space $19.99, $10 for that Viewmaster set. The Space ones do sell for more. I like the color of the keys on this old Victor machine. They've got a bunch of radios, but you know, they're priced about right for what they are. It's too bad because I could sure use some radios. But I gotta say, so far I'm not seeing real bargains on the stuff I like. The old phone is $50 in that condition. That's about right. Yes, $45.
It's ribbed.
It does seem to be.
It has nubs.
Yep, it's Fenton.
See, this reminds me of. I think it was the Explorers movie. Do you remember the Explorers movie?
I don't.
In the 80s. The aliens, these were their little mouths.
Oh, really?
This is what I always think of when I think of this. Like, they have little lips on the end of a
Tube.
stalk.
Like a
mouth.
Robert Maxwell
Yeah.
critter. In front of the Fenton swung base is a Viking glass bell. And you know it's Viking from the color and from this diamond with spot pattern. That is them, even if it doesn't have a label. Now there's a lot of just used goods in these spaces, and they're priced pretty reasonably for what they are. The vintage stuff they definitely are a little prouder of. Ah, yes. I only heard that a million times as a child. This is Jeanette Glass, the constellation pattern in basket form. I like the hot orange color a lot. This slightly more red-orange color, but you can tell it's molded. Now the only thing really old in this space other than the Jeanette bowl is this set. Here, again, these are all Hall China. $10 for the two-piece, that's not bad at all. And again, those were refrigerator dishes. Now here's a relatively attractive waterfall Arab, and it's a dresser, but it's got really nice colored inserts in Bakelite for handles. It's got this extra detail at the bottom of the mirror. This one's priced at $195, and I think it's very handsome for what it is. I kind of like the bench too. With these round feet, I'm inclined to think the bench is newer. However,
It's
yes.
unusual.
Well, it's a flat, low bowl that you don't see as often. That's true.
Yeah.
It's $5. I'm sure that would probably sell in
It's
Florida.
like a plate
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. It's basically something you can
You
take
eat it?
and serve. It's like a luncheon set. No, I don't think so.
You just said it would sell in Florida.
Yeah, it probably would. But I have a lot of things already in Florida to sell. I'm trying to be selective about certain things that I don't have in stock at all. I have a fair amount of kitchen stuff. Now this might be something to get for here depending on the price, since I sell at Kentucky Lake, and it's only $2. Yes, I'll pick that up because that'll sell for $5 where I sell. Buying souvenirs and then selling them back at the places that those souvenirs came from is usually a pretty good strategy. Wild animals of Africa. This 3-footed bowl is actually a lot older than they realize. This is probably from 1910 with the nice opalescent. That's a very good price. Alright, well we've got a bunch of old road signs here. 75 on the Highway 231. That would have been the most interesting. The arrows do sell because people use those for reasons if they live out in the sticks and are trying to show people where or where not to go on their property. Yield sign. Neat stoplight, and it's all wired up to work. It's $165. I think that's actually fairly reasonable. I've sold them for as much as $2 something. $2.85 on the old railroad signal is not a bad price for these either. That's about what I got for my last one. Oh yes, I always like these Lazy Susans. These are selling again. This is California. It's damaged, so unfortunately, that is just the way it is. Cute though for $30.
Right there.
Yep. This says it's 75% off. That means it's either completely picked over or there's something sitting here that's a sleeper or a shelf or a fixture that you might be able to use.
It's got lights right here. See?
Wow. A pulpit.
You've got your equipment back here. You can put your live sale items.
That's true.
Set it right up here.
Well, wouldn't that be more for Michael? I mean, well, Michael's the one who runs a cult, so he should have it. It could be the pulpit for the cult of vintage. $200. That's actually pretty cool. Nice little set. This is $35. It's a little older than the first one. Notice the red paint on the bottom and just a little more aged look to the tone and overall patina of the wood. Things darken with age. What's that?
Is Margie worth anything?
It's 20th Century Fox, so she must have been some character they were trying to push.
Yeah.
I don't know her. She's $18.
$18.99.
I think Barbie kicked her butt and she had to leave school. No one gets to borrow your Mercedes or your Snap-on tools. $15. If it had the clock working, it's early 80s, I'd probably get that. Snap-on tools actually sell pretty well, and the guys who collect them like the regalia. What's this?
Well, I have these in green.
Oh, aren't those European?
And there's that Ewery thing.
Oh yeah, that's Royal Hager.
And this.
Nice pole lamp, yeah. Fairly plain, but I like the basic thing. The Heywood-Wakefield set is nice. This is one of the tougher shades of finish, however. This is a little more warm than a lot of the buyers like, but it's only $250. However, they want $500 for the low dresser. I'm not sure why the big difference in price, honestly. It seems like the chest of drawers is a little low.
The Chester drawers?
The Chester drawers. This is the champagne finish, and I have a piece that's marked champagne, and it was refinished, and it is not this shade. They refinished it to the shade that more of the people prefer. This has just a little bit of a warm, pinky glossiness to it that is just a little off from what the people who buy this stuff now seem to like best. It's interesting to me that the chest of drawers on the right, which would have been a dresser with the mirror originally, is twice the price of this chest of drawers, which I think is a pretty good deal. The big Hager piece and the globe with the atlas underneath, that's that book, are setting on a corner table, and the purpose of these were when sectionals were popular in the 60s and 70s. One part of the sofa went this way, and one part of the sofa went this way. You needed a pretty big room for that. Ah yes, the Drexel campaign table is cute. Campaign tables were these ones where they folded up, the idea being that you could take something like this into the field with you, like for battle, hence campaign. And it's a cute little mid-century piece, but they want $425, which is pretty rich to my blood. They've also got this nice set of glasses here. See, Evansville kind of lacks in antique mall, so a lot of stuff comes here. This is a very cute gold set, but they want $165 for it. And it has the signature right here, Vito Bowery, but that does not make it $165. I like this backdrop. These remind me of the colors of the Seattle World's Fair, and I did a backdrop like this at one of my malls once. It definitely matches a lot of the mid-century vibe, since those were colors that were popular at the time. These little wooden toolkits were a popular thing in the early 50s to teach young kids manual dexterity, because the idea at that point was that they might have to be able to have practical skills to take care of themselves. ATF was a toy and furniture company in Illinois back when this was done, so not the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms branch of the government, but American Toy and Furniture Company. This is Atlas Annie, who's warning that you don't dare put your Atlas Van Lines box from the 1970s into the moving van, because Dolly needed to be moved separately with Dolly's owner, so the little girl would take this in the vehicle with her instead. Okay, the 75% off booth has Royal Winton plates that are very nice. I like the color, and at 75% off, the 6 plates would be a whopping $4.75, I think. That's well less than $1 a plate, so that's probably well worth buying. I'm just really being thoughtful about what I'm buying right now, though, because I have a lot of certain categories, and I'm really looking for things that are different for me. This says that it is Marcrest wheat. Now, the Marcrest I'm familiar with is very heavy, thick earthenware, and these are not. So I'm looking to see the Marcrest logo. I'm thinking maybe that's... There we go. There's Marcrest. So this is what they did later on. Marcrest did much thinner ware. This is royal wheat, hand-painted. This would likely be from the 1960s. Towards the end of their production. Bob's Merrill publishers got hold of Raggedy Ann and Andy, and in the 1970s they really promoted them to a new generation, so there were a lot of 1970s Raggedy Ann and Andy items made. There are collectors for them. There used to be a really big collectors society that liked these, and particularly the early pieces from the 1930s. Across the aisle we have Darling Starling vintage. I see a center bowl for a California set. The blue Indiana Carnival glass. Of course, you're going to see that around here. This looks like it might be Sequoia ware by the American Bisque Company out of Ohio, and indeed that is what it is, because Sequoia ware used a paper label. Otherwise, it just has this style of numbering and USA on it, whereas Treasure Craft was very clear to spell out Treasure Craft. So this was the Ohio answer to the success that Treasure Craft had in the 1960s. This old droopy dog figure is on the large size, and I believe this is Art Pottery, and he's even a little bit anatomical there. And he is supposed to be a big droopy dog. Panting, apparently, and a little bit on the skinny side. You don't see that particular one that often. That's actually a pretty good price, and I probably ought to pick him up for that. And there's the old Pizza Hut ashtray, if you remember the old Pizza Chef logo that used to be with those. $5 for that out of the 70s. My mother always would buy these when she was still a picker. Anything with fur. This one's $8. She was picking them up back in garage sale days when they were $1.50. The seal family is cute. These are Japanese, made in the 60s. The colorfulness is an attraction, and they're $18 for the set. Here's a purse that was fashionable in the mid-60s or early 70s. Jacques Fath. And you have these little pressed inserts with the gold, with various odd things of neoclassic interests, such as artist palettes and fleur-de-lis and city gates, mortars and pestles, all sorts of things, the Eiffel Tower, all sorts of things that were representations of poshness in posterity. Let's see if we can figure out a price on this. $15. It's really not bad. But in reality, it is a Glen bag made in USA. Not a big label, great condition. Certainly cute enough as vintage goes. I don't think it's stylishly forward enough now, though, for me to sell it in Florida. I probably am wrong. Somebody might like it, but I'm not as excited. We grew up with these when I was a kid. Larger versions thereof. Made out of birch bark, cork-rimmed frames. Very much a 1970s thing. They have a sort of northwestern or western United States, Canada mountain scene, but they are Japanese, as you can see. And they are cute, and they're $15 each. If you're afraid that your Kleenex is going to run away, stick it in a cage. Well, there's always time for glamour, so I thought I'd take a break and ask you to please click that bell after you subscribe, if you haven't already, so that you can be notified of future videos. Please like and comment about this video, and check out my other content in the description below. Website is theantiquenomad.com, and you can get appraisal information there, and also check out the Antique Nomad Live, our sister channel. Now let's get back to this video. Zeno's mom had this set when he was a kid, and they're selling for about $25, which is what they've got on this one. The Italian chandelier looks like a 1970s piece, and it's priced at $80. These were really, really hot about 10 years ago. They seem like they've calmed down a little bit, but they're really great because they give you so much different color to work with in terms of decorating, and the naturalistic feel of them is very nice. This one is missing its globes. That's the reason for the cheaper price, I think. 10% off, and boy, do they have a lot of glass. It looks like they just buy glass that they think is pretty. It is. Let's see who we have here. We've got Pilgrim Glass. We've got knockoff of Victorian glass from the 1980s. We have 1960s etched cut to clear. We have 1970s flash. This is another 1980s remake. In fact, so much of this is 1980s glass, and I really want you to see this because you might be fooled into thinking that this is Victorian, but look how there's no wear at all, and look at the way it's polished out in the middle in a very even scoop. That's something that modern machines do. That was not the way that it would have been done back then. A lot of these pieces with the opalescent, they were absolutely derivative of late Victorian. Now down here, we have some Fenton pieces. This is Blanco. This is Ellie Smith, the girl with the ducks. So this dealer likes colorful glass. They're buying some nice pieces. They're buying some pieces that are really not old. And I don't think that they know or necessarily care, and maybe a lot of people feel the same way, and that's fine as long as you know what you're getting. Now this is old. This is another piece of Bristol Glass, and look how it's $27, and what a sweet pattern on it. That piece behind is Fenton. It's all 10% off. I don't think that's going to make it cheap enough for me. Again, I think that this place is in part the antique mall for the area. On the other hand, down here we have a very, very, very large piece of cranberry glass that could be something. And it's $24.99. So let's see. It has some wear. It's not brand new. I suspect that it is 1980s again. It's a little clunky. I doubt it's Venetian. I'm suspecting it may be Rossi out of Canada. Not a bad price. I don't think I can make money on it, though. There's just so much in here, and it looks great. And there's nothing wrong with any of it, but there's just not a whole lot that is branded or really significant in a way that would move me to buy it at the prices that I'm seeing. I believe that's Shawnee. This vase in the back is not marked. This one is McCoy, as they say, and there's the mark on that. That one for $17 minus 10% is about the best deal I've seen so far. American Art Potteries, also known as Norwood of Morton, Illinois. That's a label that we have not shown you before. The McCoy with the single flower is probably the best deal in the booth. That one is going to be $17. It is a wall pocket. I think this could go for $35. The woman with all the wall pockets in Mount Dora, I don't remember her having any of these because she had all face ones. So that makes me think I have a chance at my next show to have the only one of these in the room. So this one at $18 net, I think I might just buy. It's got a good mark, including the Made in USA mark. I mean, everybody who knows McCoy knows these are them, but that's certainly not unhelpful. I think staring at this probably traumatized a lot of children in the 1930s and 40s. That is a baby food warmer. You would pour hot water in there, and that way, as you're feeding the baby, it stays insulated so that baby doesn't have another reason to reject being fed. And they do have costume jewelry, and they've got some nice pieces. I like the inverted stones on that one for $16.99. They do have a holly craft from their later years, and the listener. They're fun and colorful. The Whiting and Davis purses are cool. Everything's priced about where it should be, though. It's nice that I'm in a place where it's out of season. In Florida, we're not seeing 20% off signs on booth, and here we are, so something good about coming to the frigid north in the wintertime. $3.50 on the national cash register. I like the Mark's waiting room and train station. I always thought that was neat from the 1950s. It'd be $49.50 with the discount. Here's some original Bubble Lights in the box. The original ones really do sell for money if they work, folks, so do look for these. I've seen these as high as $150 a package. They also have this really cool DE Shapely Diamond Edge showcase. That would have been for the Diamond Edge shears and scissors that were made by that company, the hardware company. They actually have a lot of neat stuff in here. They've got old balance scales. It's 20% off this month. I don't know that I'll find anything I can really afford, but this brass and marble from the turn of the century is close at $75, and that one in the back there, the torsion balance scale, that would come down to about $45. So now this is Keen Cutter, the paper holder here, and anything Keen Cutter goes for extra money, so this one's $175 with the discount. You can sort of see the ghost of the Keen Cutter label on there. Zeno is quite intently trying to make TikTok work. Okay, I see a shot glass in here. I think it's fun, since I'm in a shot glass mood today. I think this is open. Yep, there we go. Ooh, it makes lots of noise, so no sneaking stuff out, which is good. Say when, y'all. 1960s, so you have Yankees, boll weevils, carpetbaggers, and rebels who apparently should be encouraged to drink even more. Well, let's see what this toy piano is like, because believe it or not, they can sell if they play. Oh, we missed one. Oh. One bad key. Well, that probably means no, but let's take it out and look at it just for fun. It's got the litho paper on there. It's called a Lark. It says it's 100 years old, $40. Truthfully, if that was playing that last note, I wonder if there's any way to open it and see if it's as simple as adjusting the hammer, because if it is, that actually would be a buy at that price. But I see no way to access where the actual music is made. So it would involve taking it apart, and that's a project, and I don't need to buy any more projects, unfortunately. Darn it. Here's a police car, I guess? This is battery operated with a cable. This was the thing in the early 50s. You would be able to steer it and maneuver it, but you had to have it on this tether, so it couldn't go very far. Now is when I wish I had Julian the Bearded Thrifter with me, because here are a whole bunch of old golf clubs, but these are older than the new ones that I see him buy, and they're newer than the old ones I'm used to buying, so I'd be curious to see how he would evaluate these. When I look for really old clubs, I look for wooden shaft, because that tells you that they're way back in time. But with this era, which seemed to be 1960s, 1970s, I would say, from the designs, maybe even back into the 50s, Some of these could be very good, and I just don't have the knowledge. These seem interesting looking to me, but it's not always about look. It's really about performance, so need more expertise in this area. Well, I like this piece of glass. I always have. I've had these in purple before. The teal is a color you see. And it's $40. That's not a terrible price these days for something that's pulled and swung. Here's another one of those American bisque servers. This one has, again, see the style of the numbers? That's how you know American bisque from Treasure Craft. Also, the glazes don't really swirl as much. And the brown is a very uniform medium brown rather than having more variation. So those are all good clues. Unfortunately, the little tile table underneath here, which is what I really like, is not for sale. It says so right there. I hate that, but I understand they're trying to make a display. And you know, this space does have a vibe to it. They've got sort of a earth-tony, little bit Native American feel. They've got basketry. They're mixing a lot of earth tones. And they have this Curtis Jarret on the wall. At least they say it's Jarret. Let's see if we can find the signature. It certainly has the look, and it may well be signed on the back. I don't really feel like taking it off the wall. I was just going to see if we could spot it easily. It's priced at $129. These are Indiana glass. Now, Blanco did this design molded as well, but the Blanco lotuses are a little more exaggerated, and you don't see as obvious a circular mold mark in the middle of the Blanco pieces. So this is definitely Indiana from the early 70s. It's a good look. The amber set they have at $32. You know how words are all over everything now? Well, that started in the late 70s and early 80s, and there's an example. This is an early 80s mug, likely made in Japan. It would have had a paper label that is gone. And they're just making sure you are absolutely not going to drink your father's coffee. These are older Tlaquepaque Mexican terracotta pieces. Cool to look at. Be careful of using the early ones, however, because up until Ken Edwards got involved with Tonalá and encouraged them to make lead-free glazes, they really weren't. This seagull piece is a good one here, with the reticulation. That is Bing & Grondel, and that is a very popular line. They want $75. That's probably about retail on that. These two are Pilgrim glass here, and this one has its original cording. This is how they were sold with the rope around it. This is late 1980s. $12.99. That's a good price. They sold for double that when they were new. This is also Pilgrim glass from that time. If you like Pyrex Butterfly Gold, they have all sorts of it here. They've got the 4-piece Cinderella bowl set, they have the straight-sided set, the 3-piece, they have this one with the lid, they've got the contrasting 2-piece smaller bowls, they've got the straight-sided quart bowl, but again, they're all priced retail. Okay, this cobalt bowl is definitely interesting to me. This is the Starlight pattern by Hazel Atlas. You see it a lot in the clear. You don't see it very often in the cobalt, and these are supposed to look like spotlights coming up out of the ground like it was a Hollywood debut or something. This came out about 1941, I believe. This one is in just fantastic condition. It seems like maybe it was at the bottom of the pile and never got used, so I think I'm going to get that for $9.50. I don't buy a lot of depression glass like this now, but that's just a really pretty piece. Easter is coming.
Well, I'm saying it's a constantly looking for.
Is it by somebody? It sort of looks hand painted.
Holiday traps.
Well, yeah.
Looking at the.
Interesting. It's $8.
It says DO, so it's a
so
kit.
it is handmade. I mean, it's all right actually. I mean, they did a pretty decent job.
People like those things.
It's evocative of an era. This little Kiva ashtray is Sasha Brostoff.
You didn't see what it was sitting on.
Let's see if they know who Sasha B is. $18. Unfortunately, this is chipped at the top. I just saw it. Drat. Abingdon Pottery 3-piece console set. $20. That's a fair price for it, not a bargain price.
Someone would want that.
I like the design. Maybe
That's
if they had a horse or a roof.
Or just a work table. I mean, it's just a nice brush.
Let's see what's in this last back room before we leave.
Misty's asking if you'll be at the show tomorrow in Princeton.
Thank goodness, I never thought I'd see another one of these.
God.
And look, it's $12. That's actually a pretty good price. And yes, they do sell. Here's Fenton's Banana Boat in Hobnail for $25. I think that's about what I got for the last one I sold. This is one of the modernist Shawnee pieces that they made towards the end of their production. They managed to go about another 6 or 7 years by making things that were very much modernist and not at all like the whimsical happy face little pigs and cats and other things that they made as cookie jars back in the 40s. If you have a collector or you find these interesting, which I do, these are probably the best deal in the whole place. They're $2 each. They are friendship mugs from the Victorian era. They tend to be very shiny and garish and splashy with lots of reflective surfaces because, of course, you really didn't necessarily have good indoor lighting back then. Not everyone had electricity still. In fact, most people still didn't at the time that this was made, about 1895. This one's got the neat angel handle, so it's a $3 item. That one might come with me. $2 on that. And this one is a souvenir of the day we were stuck in Olney, Illinois. Now you see this is part of a giant collection of friendship mugs. There's ones for Papa, there's ones that say love the giver, there's ones for Mother, there's ones for a gent, there's ones that say they are a present. This space has a lot of vintage, it looks like, especially in the salt and pepper shaker realm. And they have a few things that I recognize. The Francoma Plainsman here is $11 for the set. This was really cute, but some previous customer naughtily broke it and then didn't tell anyone. That's not very nice. I'm sure they dropped it not realizing that it was a separate piece in here. That was $20 before the damage. These are 1930s plastic. And they are cute, but they don't seem to have a price. And that one's a little bit bent. I'm not sure what I would do with the bent one. There's some other cute stuff in here. I've always thought this was an interesting shape for a 1930s or 40s vase. This is Niloke. That castellation and yet a curved surface is interesting. It's only $8. Pretty good price, but it's a bit of a factory second. It doesn't sit really flat and it's a little lumpy on the side there. $42 for the Fenton basket that would glow in the custard glass. I believe these are going to be Namaji, but let's take a look in case there's some other more obscure and possibly more interesting tourist location. Not really any way to tell. And then we have this green vase. Now, if this might glow under a black light, I think it's coming with me. It's a little minty green, though. I think it's a little later than it looks on the surface from the way that bottom is pressed. That looks like a 1960s version rather than a 20s version. This is something neat a lot of people haven't seen before. This is an antique glass mailbox, and yes, it is truly glass. It's basically similar to the old battery jars back then. This is 1920s or so, and the mail just went right down in the top. Well, I'm going to go up to the front now and get my S&H green stamps along with my purchases. It's been really fun having you with us. I'm glad that we got to show you a flea market that I enjoy in Evansville. There's a few others in the area as well. I'm George the Antique Nomad. Check me out at the social media links that you see in the description below. Please do like and comment about this video. Check out our membership programs. If you're interested in supporting the channel, that's a great way to do it. We really appreciate all of you folks in our wonderful antique and vintage community, and bye for now.
Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below. Click the bell to be notified when new videos upload. Leave a comment below and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.